Brett Yormark continues to double down on his belief that the 5+11 college football playoff model is the way to go. And today, Wednesday, July the 9th, we found out exactly why he feels like the 5-11 model is the best. And it's something I've talked about before on this show. But let's talk about it again right here today on this episode of Couz's Corner. And let's do it right now. What is up, and welcome into this episode of Couz's Corner, your home for top shelf content around the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Big 12. Brett Yormark did an interview with the folks at Big 12 Studios as part of Big 12 Media Days, day 2 of Big 12 Media Days, and they asked him a couple different questions. Obviously asked him a lot about the future of college sports, the college football playoff, a lot of different questions. They asked him one question about, what is your thoughts, or what is it you think needs to be changed about the college football playoff selection committee? He talked about how he has faith in the committee. He obviously mentioned Mack Rhoades and how he has faith in Mack Rhoades, the Baylor AD, who is now the chair of that committee. And he mentioned how strength of schedule matters to him. They're doing an audit. The college football playoff committee is doing an audit of things they need to do better and way they can modernize. And Yormark agrees, apparently, with Greg Sankey that strength of schedule needs to matter more. Now, that was a shocking statement to me and a bold statement, because Yormark is banking on the fact, he's betting on the fact that his league, the members in his league are going to be good enough and their strength of schedule will be perceived as tough enough to compete with, on paper, with the schedules of the folks in the SEC and the Big Ten. I was a little surprised by that. I'm not surprised about his 5-11 stance, and I'm not surprised that he came out in support of Mack Rhoades and the committee, because that would just be the right thing to do. But I'm surprised that he went down the strength of schedule route. Why would he do that? Does he really have that much faith in his teams that he thinks they're going to be that much better going forward? Because he did talk about the future of the playoff. Does he really have that much faith in that committee that they will perceive the Big 12, or does he have that much faith in his own teams to think they will be that good going forward? That statement was surprising to me. Now, later in the interview, they asked him another question about the future of college sports, and he brought back up the college football playoff expansion format. And he even talked about, he even reiterated, he said, this is why I'm for the 5-11, and he gave us a detail as to why, or the precise detail as to why it is he is pushing for the 5-11 model. We've heard him say it's what's best for the sport. We've heard him say that multiple times. He's doubled down on that multiple times. But he got a little bit more in the weeds and gave us a clear picture of why he thinks it's best for the Big 12. And he even said, look, it may not be the best thing for the Big 12 today. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said it may not be the best thing for the Big 12 today. But he said, I'm playing the long game here. He's looking long term. He's looking big picture. That's what forward-thinking people do. They look big picture. And before we get too much further, let me know in the comments what you think about the 5-11 model. Do you think Brett Yormark's right to be pushing the 5-11 model? Or do you think he should be more on board for the 4-4-2-2-1 automatic qualifier model? Let me know. But Yormark is playing the long game, and he is confident that the Big 12 teams will be able to compete at the highest level. He talked about how they're investing in their programs. They're going to be better. They're going to invest and be able to compete at the highest level, and he has faith that they'll do that. And he reiterated, or didn't reiterate, but he commented the precise reason that he thinks the 5-11 model is best for the Big 12 long term, and he said this, and I quote, "Why should I cap how many participants we can have in the CFP?" Then in between some banter between the commentators, he said, for 6 years. So it sounds, and he stressed that, for 6 years. Why should I cap how many participants we can have in the CFP for 6 years? So he feels confident that the Big 12 teams are improving on the field. They're investing in their facilities. They're investing in their programs. They're investing in NIL. They're investing in revenue sharing. And they're doing what it takes to win and compete with the SEC and the Big Ten in the college football playoff. And he thinks He also mentioned he thinks they'll have some teams separate themselves above the other teams. He talked about the parity in the conference and how he thinks that's good for the conference today. But he said at some point we will have some teams begin to separate themselves from the rest of the pack and kind of be the teams that shine a light on the conference long term. And he thinks those teams, he thinks there could be more than 2 or 3 of those teams. Or at least 2 to 3 of those teams. And in some years, they may be able to get 3 teams in the playoff. And why do you want to cap yourself at 2 when 2, 3, 4 years down the road, you might be able to get 3 teams in the playoff? And I understand that point. I've went back and forth on this, and I need you guys to help me out here. I need you to help me out. Do you think I should be on the side of 5+11? I started off staunchly at 5+11. I've sort of wavered, and now I thought the 4-4-2-2-1 will be best for the Big 12. And I still think, at least in the short term, that the 4-4-2-2-1 model is best for the Big 12. But Brett is looking long-term here. He's looking 5-6 years out here, which is how long this college football playoff format, the new one, whatever they come up with, it's how long it will be good for. The contract will be a 6-year contract. It'll be locked in for 6 years. And he doesn't want to be locked in, capping his conference at 2 participants in the CFP. Hey, do me a favor. Go check out my good friends over at Appalachia Digital. If you need a brand new website for your small business, or if you're just looking to get found easier on Google, go check out appalachiadigital.com/Couz. These are the fine folks who designed my brand new website over at wvsportschat.com. They did a fantastic job. I love their work. I think you will too. So go check them out. appalachiadigital.com/Couz. Let them know Couz sent you. Now let's get back to the show. I tell you, it's a very risky move here, in my opinion, by Brett Yormark. It's a bold move, but a risky move. Because if your teams aren't able to compete at on the national stage, if the parity in the league continues and they just continue to beat themselves up every year, and you end up with 2 and 3 lost teams winning your league most years, you're not going to get 3 teams in most years. You may be lucky to get 2 teams in most years, and instead you'll be stuck getting 1 team in just like you did last year. That's my fear. But I respect the boldness. I respect the fact that he, along with his ADs and his coaches, we heard Mike Gundy talk about it. I respect the fact that they want to earn it. They want to be a team good enough to make the playoff. And like Mike Gundy said in his presser, and I'm paraphrasing again, if we're not good enough to get in, try again next year. Do better. Win more games. That's the spirit of competition. That's the reason I was all on board the 5-11 model at first. And I could be wavered back to that. But I tell you, man, I'm just so afraid. I've seen the national narratives out there. I've seen how all these polls always paint the SEC and the Big Ten in a much brighter light than the Big 12 or even the ACC for that matter. And I'm just not sure I'm ready to put that much faith in how people perceive the Big 12. And I'm not sure I'm ready to put that much faith in the fact that the Big 12 is going to have teams separate themselves. I just don't know, man. I'm really worried that that's not going to happen. I'm worried that this risk will not pay off for the Big 12. And I'm worried that they might be hurting themselves long term. But I do respect it. I do respect the fact that they're wanting to earn it on the field. I do respect the fact that they're honoring what it means to compete and earn your spot and not just give it to a conference based on who they are and their past. Because we all know things in sports can be cyclical. The best conferences can be cyclical. The SEC is not going to dominate every year. The Big Ten is not going to dominate every year. There might be years the Big 12 and ACC are better than especially now that we're going into the rev share era. If they get better guardrails and more guardrails long term around NIL and the portal, maybe the Big 12 and ACC becomes more competitive with the SEC and the Big Ten. So, and I think that's what Yormark's banking on. He's banking on the future of college athletics having more parity amongst all the conferences and the Big 12 being able to compete on the biggest stage. Man, if that's the way it goes, I really hope he's right, because if not, it could be detrimental to the Big 12. But I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments section. I want to give a quick shout out to my paid VIP members of this episode. They are Bob Swanger, Tumasta, Shane V, David Cummings, and Brad Cheney. Thank you all for your paid VIP membership. Thank you for your support. If you want to be a paid VIP member and join this club, hit the join button below on your device. If your device doesn't have a join button, my channel homepage, there's a join button right beside the profile photo of my logo. There's also a link in the description box of this video. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Appalachia Digital. If you need to design yourself a brand new website, or you want your website to get found easier on Google and improve your SEO, Appalachia Digital will help you out with that. They designed my site over at wvsportschat.com, or I should say our site. Jonathan Martin is also a partner with me over there now. But our site over at wvsportschat.com, they designed it. They did a great job. They can do the same for you. Go to appalachiadigital.com/Couz. Let them know I sent you. And I appreciate them for helping me keep the lights on here on the show. If you can't support me financially, and obviously you're not a sponsor, that right there, that thumbs up button, you can hit that. It's another way you can help me, and you can do it for free. You can do it quickly. You can do it easily. Hit that button. You can also subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you like West Virginia content, you like Big 12 content, please subscribe. And please share this out with your family and friends who like Mountaineer or Big 12 sports, because it's very possible they might like what I have to say. Maybe they'll enjoy the show. And if they don't know about me, they can't enjoy it. So please tell them. I appreciate you tuning into this episode. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf, and Q Country Roads.